Hello. Welcome to the stream. If you're new here, I'm Jarrett. I write, I used to write Ruby code for a living. Nowadays, I don't get to write very much code. I run a consultancy called Supergood Software, where we build e-commerce sites using a platform called Solidus that's built on top of Rails and is exceptionally customizable in the realm of e-commerce platforms. But today we're not doing that. We are continuing to work through Advent of Code problems. We are about 7.5 hours from the release of day 21's problem, but I have still not yet done day 20 and 19. So today I want to work through those two problems and then hopefully return with a stream around 9 p.m. tonight, 9 p.m. Pacific tonight, to do day 21. And barring anything unexpected, I don't really expect we will miss any streams here on out. We are very busy at Supergood right now, but not any deadlines around Christmas, fortunately. So not much on to take up my time there. And additionally, there is not a lot going around here. We're not allowed gatherings here in BC outside our household, basically. And my family are, my mom works in extended care, so she has to be very careful, and my dad works in a grocery store. So similarly, not a lot of incentive in our household to gather until things are a little safer. So I'm going to hello Just Gaming, welcome to the stream. With that, I think it is time to get started, but I'm just gonna shut the blind here a little because it is very bright on my face. There we go. Now my face isn't completely white on one side. All right, let's go. We are tackling day 19. You land in an airport surrounded by dense forest. As you walk to your high-speed train, the elves at the Mythical Information Bureau contact you again. They think their satellite has collected an image of a sea monster. Unfortunately, the connection to the satellite is having problems, and many of the messages sent back from the satellite have been corrupted. They sent you a list of the rules valid messages should obey, and a list of received messages they've collected so far. The rules for valid messages, the top of your puzzle input, are numbered and build upon each other. Just Gaming, this is Advent of Code. It's a annual set of programming puzzles that are released one a day from December 1st to 25th. The rules for valid messages are numbered and build upon each other. There's an example. Some rules simply match a single character. The remaining rules list the sub-rules that must be followed. For example, rule 012 means that that to match rule 0, the text being checked must match rule 1, and the text after the part that match rule 1 must match rule 2. As some of the rules have multiple lists of sub-rules separated by a pipe, this means that at least one list of sub-rules must match. Ones that match might be different each time the rule is encountered. For example, the rule 2, 1, 3, etc. I don't want to read those out. Means that, okay, this is an example, but rule 2 says it has to be something that matches rule 1 and then matches rule 3, or rule 3 and then rule 1. Fortunately, there are no loops in the rules, so the list of possible matches will be finite. Or finite, depending on how you like to pronounce that word. I don't actually know which pronunciation is more common. Since rule 1 matches A and rule 3 matches B, rule 2 must match either A, B, or BA. Therefore, rule 0 matches AAB or ABA. sure I follow what it's saying there, but we can come back to that. So this is continuing to go through examples. Rule 4 is A, rule 5 is B. Rule 3 matches two letters that are different. 4-5 or 5-4, yes. Since rule 1 matches rules 2 and 3 once each in either order, it must match, and 2 and 3 are 4, 4, 5, 5. We'll match with, it must match two pairs of letters, one pair with matching letters and one pair with different letters. This, okay, I understand that. Therefore, rule 0, so it builds things up. No. Okay, your goal is to determine the number of messages that completely match rule 0 in the above example. Okay, how many matches completely? Okay, I think we can start working on that. We can deal with the details. So we are on day 19, part 1. So we'll just generate our scaffold for that and get that open. Day 19 txt. There we go. So I'm gonna say there's probably gonna be just a ton of rules. Yeah, we've got, how many of them are there here? 134 of them, and then a whole bunch of strings. We have to see how many how many messages completely match rule 0. So we only care about rule 0, which will be somewhere in here. There it is. Okay. Interesting, kind of tricky. Let's see. So I guess the goal is to kind of like, we'll see how this goes. We have an example. So in the other example, this one and this one match, but the two others don't, and so this would be 2. Okay, so we can pop that into our test, and we would expect this to be 2. We can run our tests and see that that fails as expected. I feel like I'm going to need a rule class, but I'm not exactly immediately sure what the API of this or how I want it to work is. Maybe we want to just worry about parsing and then we can figure out the rest after that. So def test parsing, and our input is here. Okay, and we'll want to say parser equals, pass in the input, and then we'll want to make some assertions about what we get back. What do we call these things? These are messages, so we can say we want to be able to pull the messages out. Messages. So it's just a bunch of words and parser.messages. And then we also want to be able to pull out the rules. But I don't know what that's gonna look like yet. So let's do messages first. Cool. Okay. So messages is input, and then we'll split it on double new line to grab and take the last part of that, which should get us the bottom bit. Then we'll split it on just single new lines, and that should be the right answer. Okay, cool, that passes. So let's test what we want to get out of parser.rules. And I think maybe this is going to be like a hash or something with maybe numeric keys. So this, I guess, I think this is what I want to do. Do we have ones that are just like, so fundamentally it all comes down to A's and B's, right? So we don't have any rules that are, okay, so that data just having these mapped right to the strings is fine because we don't have ones that are multiple options, but these other ones here, I can easily do this. So there's a first option. How am I going to do this? So close, open, get rid of that. Start missing commas, and close. There we go. And we got a couple missing. Okay, so that's what we expect to get out. Seems reasonable. Guess we should, in true TDD style, run it once. Okay. Yeah, we don't get there's no rules method, so we can implement that. And now we're getting nil, so we want to input split. Something just fell off my desk, but I don't know what. First split on those new lines again, and this time we will each with object. Come on, fingers. And then I think it's the so I'll say rule and rules. That's probably bad, but because we're shadowing the method name and stuff, but that's okay. And let's just do a little binding .pry in there, make sure we're on the right track. Rules, correct. Rules is the hash. Cool. So if we disable pry here, we get an empty hash out, which at least is closer to what we're looking for. Then we can do rule number and rule definition equals rule.split on colon space. Cool. And then we're gonna do something like rules, rule number, equals rule definition split on that. Dot map. I don't even know what to call that variable. And we're going to say x dot split on spaces map 2i. And we got close. We didn't convert the keys to numbers. So now we're very close, but we didn't handle the ones that aren't numeric rules. So put a conditional in here, I guess. If rule defin, I mean, I probably just want to write a regular expression in there, I imagine. I've got rule defin. I don't care about that. Maybe the one I want. Cool. Okay. So, I mean, I think we can do like. Yeah. There's our condition. So we can say if it's a letter, do one thing, otherwise we'll do the other thing. And I guess we actually need the match. Does match return nil if it fails? Is that how it works? I guess that was the example I should have been testing. Yes, perfect. That's what we need. So that works as expected. And then this case we say rules, rule number 2i equals M1. M1. It's the kind of CPU that we are running this test or this code on right now. And I forgot to fix that typo. And now we're real close. But that's not, oh, I'm not actually capturing this. So that is our issue there. Lovely. Okay, so now we can parse this out into something reasonably useful. We can define a how do we want to do this? Messages and define a rules method, and both of these are just going to call input.rules and input messages respectively. So now we've got access to all that stuff in here, presumably. Rules messages. I kind of think we want to build maybe a rule set class is sort of the next piece we might want. So I don't think defining things as individual rules is going to be particularly useful. So rule sets, and that can be rule set.new, and then we're going to need to pass it in something to work with, and we might as well use our example. then we can just take our individual ones and write some assertions for them. Assert rules rule set dot match. I guess I need some quotes. And I believe the first, so let's see, A, B, and then a bunch of B's, and the first and third match, but the others do not. Cool. So we can, oh, disable pry. I don't need that pry there. Come on. I mean, we can even write our part 1 test, because we know what this is going to look like. We'll say rules, so we'll initialize it with the rules. Then we will do messages.count and we'll set match m. Let's just do that, and that should provide us with a solution once our tests are actually passing. Okay, so certainly need that. So that's a little friendlier, and then we can have a match method. Then now everything's not blowing up, but we are not getting the right results. Okay. I feel like we're going to have some fun recursion or something to make this work. And that's going to make me wish I'd had some more coffee. What do we want to do? So oops. What do we write in here? Just take a look through the rules again, make sure we understand this. Some of the rules have multiple lists of rules. At least one of the sub-rules must match. The ones that match might be different each time the rule is encountered. Sure, yeah. For example, the rule 21331 means... Fortunately, there are no loops in the rules. Yeah, thank you. So the list of possible matches will be finite. Since rule 1 matches A and rule 3 matches B, rule 2 matches A, B, or BA. Therefore, rule 0. Yeah, okay. Okay, so feels straightforward, but how do we do this? Maybe we want to write a really simple example to test the oops. So what if we make our rule set as simple as possible first? And then we build up from there. So this should work, and then we should have, let's do a slightly more complicated one. We've got a rule 1, rule 2, and rule 0 is 1, 2. So this should match AB, but not match BA, or AA for that matter. And then oops, that's 2, 1. Oops, I'm missing my commas. So that, and then this should match AB and should match BA, but won't match AA or BB. Okay, so we can build this up a little bit. So if match rule, so we return a string. If oh, my phone is dying. If let's just say one string true if, or not true if, this is, I guess we need to match the rule and the message, right? M equals R. So that, that's line 100, and then I'm gonna say that's line 100. Yes, so that passes those. Probably isn't exactly what we need, but we can work with it for now. don't know what to call this. Conditions? I don't know. It's not a good variable name. What am I doing? This is where it gets tricky. So I need to like match the pieces, and then probably want to convert this to chars, so we're passing characters all the way down. How do I implement this? So what do I need back here? It's tough. This is tough. It'd be easier to like construct regular expressions. I don't know. Might be. What would we need to turn this regular expression into? So let's say we just build a crazy chunk of code to generate the regex. I feel like we can kind of do this. So we say, how do we convert? I don't know. Let's just play around here. So we have rules in here. Actually, no. It's one of those ones where you start writing the code in here and then you realize what you want. So you say this is just a call to toRegex0. Maybe we have to call, can we convert a string to a regular expression? How do I do that in Ruby? String to regex Ruby. I'm sure there's just a method on it, or I can pass it to regex or something. New with the string. All right, that works. And now I just have to implement 2regex. N is the rule number. Just return the string when array, and we have to do something slightly more complex because we need to or it's, no, I think we can do this. Rules n dot map it's not gonna be pretty, but we can do this. R dot join probably isn't going to produce the right thing, but we can mess around with it. Join map each rule to regex. Join this with pipes and wrap it all in capture. Iffy, but let's see what it produces. All right, regex for our first one. So those are those tests. Actually, this actually looks like it's like kind of half working. Let's just run the test without the binding.pry. So it gets as far as the assertion on line 134. Which is impressive. I think the thing I'm missing is the start of string, end of string identifiers that I always forget which ones are which. /A and /Z. No, 7 is failing. Okay. Just for simplicity's sake. Right, that's not at all going to work. I see what I've done. So the issue is these can't go in here. That's no good. They need to go on the outside of the whole thing. Now, line 99 is failing. So now we're just failing completely. So what's going on there? Which is not the example I was looking for. No. No, thank you. I do not need to update my term in the middle of my stream. I don't know what it would. Oh, that was probably what I wanted to test. Let's just do this a bit better. If M is just the letter I. Okay, take the regex that's built, and my issue is that I need to double escape those characters, I think. That looks better. Everything passes. I have a result. So building regular expressions, I guess that's a strategy. Cool. All right, that's part one. Let's see what part two holds for us. As you look over the list of messages, you realize that your matching rules aren't quite right. To fix them, completely replace rules 842 and 114231 with the following. This small change has a big impact. Now the rules do contain loops, and the list of messages could be hypothetically match as infinite. You'll need to determine how these changes affect which messages are valid. Fortunately, many of the rules are unaffected by this change, since it might help to start by looking at which rules must always match the same set of values, and how those rules, especially rules 42 and 31, are used by the new versions of rules 8 and 11. Remember, you only need to handle the rules you have. Building a solution that could handle any hypothetical combination of rules would be significantly more difficult. Yes. Yes, it would. Okay. So a new condition. New pair of conditions to replace a couple of rules for part two. So let's do a little remap. So we are running part two now. And how do we want to tackle this? So it gives us an example. But okay, sure, we can pop this example. It's kind of long, but it'll do. All right. So now we have this, and we can say we expect the result part two to be 12, and we'll see if I should probably delete that. That's wrong. What? Oh. I don't know why I leave that in there. I should probably remove it from my template. And perfect. So what we expect to happen happens. Just removing that binding.py from the previous commit. All right. So this is where it bites us, because have potentially 2 rules. So I don't know. For starters, I think our logic inside of our actual part 1 is going to stay almost exactly the same. We just care about being able to swap out the rule set class. So we can expect that potentially this only changes in that we have like rule set 2 here now. And if I create a class rule set 2 that inherits from rule set, probably doesn't need to, but we still get our wrong results. And we can even update our constructor. Super, and then we can update the 2 rules. Here. So can overwrite the rules that were initially put in place. With our new options. And that will cause the code to infinite loop. Blow the stack. Which is to be expected here, but not desirable. What to do? You're very quiet today, chat. I suspect our strategy of building the regular expression is just sort of no good here. I don't think really we're going to use any of our previous logic here. Do something like mass rule. Tricky. And we have to, I guess we should take this puzzle's advice and examine rules 42 and 31. See what it's looking for. It might be easier to see in the code though. so 8 and 11 were altered so that 8 can contain itself. What is the trick here? It might help to start by looking at which rules always match the same set of values and how those rules affect or are used by the new versions of rules 8 and 11. So let's take a look at 42, 31. So rule 11 matches like any matching number of pairs of 42s and 31s on the on the outside though. So it's going to be like, it could be like 42, 42, 42, 42, 31, 31, 31, 31, or 42, 31, or etc. And 8 matches 42 repeated any number of times. So 42 is a bunch of things. I just want to see if there's anything interesting about the things that it is. Ones are A's, good to know. Fourteens are B's. So like that's A, B, B. Okay, all right, all right. Maybe we can do this. 'Cause I think we can actually maybe even do this using our old strategy. This won't work. This will give us the, or this will blow its stack, right? But what if we just create the regular expressions for both of these here? And because this is just 2 regex um, 42 plus, right? I don't know if we can do this for rule 11. Rule 11's trickier. Because that's like... But the pluses are wrong here, because... Right? This is probably not the right answer. But if it works for my input, that'll be funny. Okay, good. That's what I expected. It should match some things that it shouldn't match, so the fact that it's too high fits with my understanding of the problem at this point. But not my understanding of what I can do with regular expressions, because I need to be able to match pairs somehow. I need like a recursive match. Is there some special property of the just gonna bind it up right here so I can poke around. So rules 8 get set to some big long thing but repeating, which I think is correct. But rules 11 is going to be some monster, but it's not correct because we need the 2 different things to repeat the same number of times. And is there some trick like regular expression match outer pairs? Match balanced pairs. Doesn't even need to be parens. Yes, I know. .NET regex balancing groups. Regex balancing groups. Ruby? Balancing groups. Ruby. And Ruby handle with regular expression recursion. I mean, wrong tool for the job, but let's go. Ruby regular expression recursion. Okay, I guess I'll just use the thing. So it says it uses this. So slightly different syntax. Okay. So it wants me to, right here, that. I'm planning to double escape that guy. Never-ending recursion? Sick. That's too bad. Okay, well we didn't get the right answer, but we got an answer, which is exciting. Well, I'm gonna check this answer. I don't think it's right though. Too low. That makes sense. We're not counting enough of the test input, so I'm not surprised that we are getting not enough. But I am curious. So where was I? I was gonna go take a little more of a gander at rules 42 and 31. 42 is 914, which is in 9. 14 is just a letter. 10 is some other things. Not super exciting. Why might this not be working? Does anyone know anything about recursive? I said G0. Why would that be different? You could add a question mark. Why is that using G1? What does the 1 mean? Why I found nothing about I could tell, okay, I got a different number. I can just put different numbers in here and get different results. But I don't know what the number means. Support capture group recursion. want like don't think that should change this. No. It's people with info. Not a lot of it. Very helpful. Name a subregex with whatever, and then you call subregex gname the same regex. So your regex gets regex is translated into onigurama. Regex would be. So you have to name the whole group. I see. Ha! So it was just using the wrong capture for the recursion, I think. Hey, there we go. That was fun. Learned something new about regular expressions and what you can do with them. I didn't think we would be able to get as far as we did, but due to the sort of special casing of the examples or of the stuff of what they required us to do there, it turned out you are still able to get through it just using regular expressions, and we were able to completely leverage the existing solution. So we parameterized the rule set we were using, and then we changed the rule set. That we could have just changed this prior to passing it in, and then yeah, part 2 reused all the same code, other than a different rule set class. That only had superficial changes. So I'd say that was pretty efficient reuse of code across part 1 and part 2. But that is it for that is it for day 19. I'm going to take a brief break and then come back for day 20.